So that's CryptoPunks. Next topic is this Twitter post by Tom Emmer, who is he describes himself as a husband, father, hockey fan, and congressman for Minnesota's 6th district. Okay. In response to this article, where Minneapolis Federal Reserve Department of Minneapolis President Kashkari, this is Neil Kashkari on Crypto Market. He said thousands of garbage, and we'll come to this in a second. But he said thousands of garbage coins. But what Tom said was, and he's referring to what Neil Kashkari was talking about in he was doing give an hour long talk at some event, and Neil said that most of the market is garbage and used for nefarious purposes, and Tom rebutted that with crypto-based crime represented only 0.34% of the entire transaction volume in 2020. Okay, so about the same rate as the coronavirus death rate, basically. Okay, that's how, if not more, it's probably higher. We have more to worry about crypto-based crime than we have of the so-called pandemic. But not that it's not a serious issue anyway. Okay, I'm not refuting it. I'm just being facetious. Excuse my facetiousness. I'm just saying it's a very low amount. Okay, crypto-based crime represented 0.34% of the entire transaction volume in 2020. Unfortunately, most crime is still conducted with the cash that you print, Neil Kashkari. Okay, so they're saying that crypto is only used, and I just realized again I forgot to bring my mic closer. So again, hopefully the audio is good. This will actually be a nice. It's turning into an experiment, in an audio experiment, to see if the mic placement at the moment is suitable and if this is clear and audible. But so this guy is printing cash. Okay, now obviously cash is non-traceable unless it's marked, but it's basically non-traceable, and obviously why cash is king when it comes to crime-based funding. Okay, because if you know anything about crypto, okay, crypto isn't actually anonymous. It's the whole point of it. The blockchain is that every transaction is cemented into the blockchain, so every transaction is there forever. Okay, and there are ways of means then of tracking that transaction or the wallet or the address then to the owner of it. Okay, whereas cash can just be passed on to the next person and nothing can be proven unless you have evidence, video evidence or whatever. I'll just read a couple of the comments down here. They're funny. Direct quote from Mr. Kashkari. Equals we have infinite inflation. So he said, so we have infinite cash. That means we have infinite inflation. That means we have infinite money laundering using infinite no limit fiat. Equals 95% of the money printing is a load of steam that manipulates and tilts the markets from printers, banks, hedge funds, investors. Okay, so these people who are saying that the crypto has no value, these are the guys who were. He said it in this talk, and I'll briefly show you the video later. But he said that basically we have infinite cash. Okay, that they can print off as much money as they want. He was talking about, like, even the fact that they've gone to, just trillions upon trillions. 1 second, I'll see if I can find this. States debt. Okay. Okay. The United States current debt. Tommy Tiernan, the Irish comedian, did a great bit on the world debt. Where he said, Ireland had so many billions of debt, UK tens of billions, another country hundreds of billions, America. There isn't even just a number, it's just So currently 28 trillion in debt. Okay. And he's saying that there's still more potential to print more money. So right now, like, money is just ridiculous. It has no value. This is why it's called fiat. The only value it has is perceived value, which again is the same as everything else in this world. Okay. You could say that the only thing that really has value is what you value, and the essentials, which are, food, water, security, loving, a safe place to be, like a home and this sort of stuff, friends and family, people around you, what you value in your life, So yeah, this is a person commented, Neil Kashkari retweeted his tweet, or this tweet. It seems Mr. Kashkari agrees that crime is lubricated by cash. Mind you, Ken Rogoff has a book on this, but what he really wants to do is to ban cash so central bank can charge negative interest rate. Wonder if Kashkari has the same agenda. Oh, Neil retweeted Tom's tweet. Okay. I like this one. Tyrone said, talking about crimes, Kashkari, please go step over at the Wall Street bullion banks and Rostin Benham and the CFTC, who have been colluding in PM market manipulation. Then you will understand what crime really is. Very true. So, video games just a passing fad, top toy company executive says, back in 1977. So, we're going to go into this article then. There's Neil Kashkari, an American banker, economist, and politician who is the president of the Federal Reserve Bank. He actually worked for Goldman Sachs as well, and I believe for NASA at some point. So an intelligent man, relatively. This is the other thing as well, is like, just because these people say things to the public and to audiences, it doesn't necessarily mean that that is what they believe, So what's coming out of their mouth mightn't be what is going on inside, But Neil said Minneapolis Fed President, Federal Reserve President Kashkari on crypto market, thousands of garbage coins. And he's probably not wrong, There are a lot, but there are a few that have complete utility and purpose. And these are the ones that I believe will stand the test of time. Okay. So Neil said, I have not seen any use case other than funding illicit activities like drugs and prostitution. Well, I mean, maybe he should start using them for other purposes. You know, you can buy a coffee with Bitcoin now. You can buy, a house. There was a house in the Netherlands which was bought entirely with crypto, with Bitcoin. But Neil apparently likes to use his crypto for drugs and prostitution. Or maybe I'm reading that wrong. I could be reading that wrong. Apologies, Neil. But get back to me on that, okay? The Federal Reserve official who famously reassured the US public last year that the central bank could inject unlimited money into the economy has voiced some well-worn, often rebutted criticisms of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general. I was more optimistic about crypto and Bitcoin 5 or 6 years ago, Neil said. So far what I've seen is 95% fraud, hype, noise and confusion. During an appearance at the Pacific Northwest, shout out to Seattle, or to Washington State, the Pacific Northwest Economic Region Annual Summit in Big Sky, Kashkari contrasted the open nature of the crypto field with the US government's monopoly on issuance of dollars. And that's interesting as well. If you look through, it's actually like an interesting video. It's good to listen to it. But he says the reason that that dollars have value is because the government has the monopoly over them. And if you try to create your own, print your own dollars, that you'll have a Secret Service knocking at your door. So it's basically just like a giant mafia, is what he's saying. And that's what it is, basically. Taxes, extortion, I'm not against tax, but I just think they should be voluntary. So there is no barrier to you creating your own Bitcoin or me creating my own. I'll call it Neilcoin, he said. Pointed to his on-stage interlocutor, Larry Simkins, CEO of conglomerate, the Washington companies. Kashkari added, and then Larry can create Larrycoin. Okay. Other Fed officials have expressed more nuanced and favorable assessments of digital assets. Vice Chairman Randall Quarles, for example, said in June, the United States should find ways to say yes to stablecoins, which is basically just like a cryptocurrency, okay, which doesn't have the massive fluctuations you see in the general crypto market. But it's estimated that once the markets mature, that they will become more stable. The only reason they're fluctuating so much now is because it's still in its infancy. Okay, so while it is true that anyone can spin up a digital asset easily, Kashkari did not mention the power of network effects, which make Bitcoin more secure and valuable in the market's eyes than its many competitors. There are thousands of these garbage coins that have been created, the central banker went on. Some of them are complete fraud Ponzi schemes. They dupe people into investing money and then the founders rip them off. BitConnect, anyone? Okay. This is indeed true very often, but Kashkari then made a sweeping generalization. I always ask people, what problem are you trying to solve? And no one can articulate what the actual problem is. And this is where it comes back to utility. So Neil actually said in the talk that he said, first of all, 99% of coins are garbage. Then he said, no, I'll take that back. I'll be generous. 95% are garbage. Okay. And I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong. Okay. A lot of them do have utility or purpose even within their own ecosystems. Okay. But there are a few that have utility on a grander scale. And the two, okay, it could be said that Cardano, which is I've seen earlier, is jumping up already. Cardano, Ethereum have massive potential on the tech side. and how can we then translate, for example, smart contracts? This is where they become purposeful, okay? Apart from their own ecosystems, how can we bring smart contracts then into the real world or the physical world? Yeah. But the two that I really like are XRP and VET, okay, which are Ripple's cryptocurrency, and VeChain, okay. The two of these things, again, at the moment, severely underpriced. Ripple with XRP is hoping to become the next sort of Swift, which will help banks connect with each other to pass money safely and quickly from one place to the other, solving a lot of problems. And then along the way, they're developing other things like the my mind just went blank, but it's basically the Ripple ledger, okay, which other people then can build their own systems on top of, okay. But then we have VeChain, which will be used for logistics and for tracking product paths, and will ensure safety and legitimacy and authenticity. So, for example, even to say that your food was sent from a farm to the market, and then you would see the tracking along the way that this is legitimate, or that even that for tracking items, stores and shops have all these items, everything would be able to just be easily tracked, kept on the blockchain, and so just look into them yourselves. But huge potential, severely underpriced right now. And again, not financial advice, just my observations. But this is the video. Kashkari scoffed, and I'll just play a few seconds of it in a minute. Kashkari scoffed at the idea that Bitcoin could serve as a safe haven from inflation, particularly the kind seen in some developing countries. He said, "I don't see any evidence that the US government or the United States of America is on a path to Venezuela." Now, hold on a second. Let me just read that again. Okay. Neil Kashkari, president of the Minneapolis Fed, said, "I do not see any evidence that the United States government or the United States of America is on a path to Venezuela." I think we should just send this link to Neil, just as a reminder. This is the craziness. It's like when you see the likes of China, Russia, and other countries stepping away and trying to find ways to step away from the US dollar and the petrodollar, and stocking up on gold as well. I mean, it's easy to see why some people would say that it's inevitable that the crash is coming and that this is all just going to collapse. And it seems to me that these guys do not care. Okay, they're happy just because they won't be hurt by it anyway. It will be the majority of the population who suffers when things collapse. Okay. But he said some Bitcoin users may find that the line galling given Kashkari's interview on television's 60 Minutes in 2020, early in the coronavirus pandemic, in which he boasted that there is no end to our ability at the Fed to pump money into the economy. It's a fine picture there. Perfect moment. Okay. The Venezuela comment also highlighted the fact that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are global and have been adopted by residents of countries suffering from more severe inflation than the US. While he stopped short of saying crypto could never be useful, it's certainly possible. Kashkari indicated Tuesday he was skeptical of the prospects. I've not seen any use case other than funding illicit activities like drugs and prostitution, apparently unaware that Bitcoin has been used by politically disfavored publishers and dissident voices to survive government blacklisting in countries like Russia. He said, I have not seen any use case that is legitimate so far that Bitcoin solves. He closed his brief remarks on the subject by circling back to an audience member's question about the city of Miami's recent foray into crypto, which they're calling, is it Miami Coin? He said, if you want to launch Montana Coin, don't let me stop you. Okay. So what one is this now? Okay. So I'm just going to play a few seconds of that video. Okay. Just give me 1 second and I will be back momentarily. Okay. Okay, thank you for your patience. I appreciate you being here. So this is the video, just a few seconds of Neil talking at the Northwest Pacific Conference. Okay, so I'll load this up here and I'll get this rolling. I just want to make sure that yes, audio is activated. Boom.
Okay, I got a quick softball for you. Matt Binky, State Representative, Washington State. We're a technology leader, you know, at Microsoft, all the big keys. What are your thoughts on the digital economy as we move forward? Primarily following what Miami's been doing with Bitcoin, having their own now Miami coin, of getting into that cryptocurrency market. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I was more optimistic about crypto and Bitcoin 5 or 6 years ago. So far, what I've seen is 99%, 95%. Let me be charitable. 95% fraud, hype, noise, and confusion. You know, why is the dollar so valuable? Because the US government has a monopoly on producing dollars. If you go in your basement and you want to start producing your own currency, the Secret Service is going to come knock on your door and put you in handcuffs. There is no barrier to you creating your own Bitcoin or me creating my own. I'll call it Neil Coin. Maybe I can't call it Bitcoin. I'll call it Neil's Bitcoin. And then Larry can create Larry Coin. And there are thousands of these garbage coins that have been created. Some of them are complete fraud Ponzi schemes where they pump it up, they dupe people to investing money, and the founders rip them off. I mean, I always ask people, what problem are you trying to solve? And nobody can articulate what the actual problem is. They say, oh, we don't want to be Venezuela. Yeah, I agree. I don't want to be Venezuela either. I don't see any evidence that the US government or the United States of America is on a path of Venezuela. And so, you know, I don't want to say it's impossible that something useful would come out of this. It's certainly possible, but I've not seen any use case other than funding illicit activities like drugs and prostitution. I have not seen any use case that is legitimate so far that Bitcoin solves.